Assalamu alaikum and good morning viewers. And the today lecture we will learn the another types of the experimental study design. It is called the quasi-experimental study design. The quasi-experimental study design is little bit different from the RCT. As we discussed in the RCT, it is the true experimental study design, and it is also called the gold standard study design. And the RCT, you have the researcher have to need the randomizations. And the second one is the blocking, blinding, matching, homogeneity, and the internal validity. It's all need, it's all the key features and need to conduct the RCT experimental study design. Now the quasi-experimental study design it is a little bit different from the RCT. In the quasi-experimental study design, you have the researcher have no need to take the control, or means take the less number of the control just to compare the result from the experimental group and the control group. And the second one is the no need of the randomizations in the quasi-experimental study design. So that's the some key features which is make the quasi-experimental study design is a little bit different from the RCT. Now let's quasi-experimental study design is further 5 to 6 steps. Let me enlist of the types of the quasi-experimental study design. Then further we will discuss in detail about the each type. The first type of the quasi-experimental study design is called the non-equivalent control group quasi-experimental study design. The second one, is the pre-test and post-test only quasi-experimental study design. Now the third one is interrupted. You can say it is an interrupted, or you can say the time series, interrupted time series study quasi experimental design. It is again the two type. One is control group control group, and second one is the without control group. Now the fourth one is the regression discontinuity continuity quasi experimental study design. Now the fifth one, which is nowadays is again is used, is a propensity quasi experimental study design. Okay, these are the study design which is mostly used to conduct the quasi experimental study design. Let me discuss little bit in detail about the each type of the quasi experimental study design. Now in the first non equivalent control group control non-equivalent control group quasi experimental study design, what the researcher will do, the researcher no randomization will conduct before to conduct this study design. The second one is the experiment group and the control group. The experiment group and the control group, the experiment group the treatment, and then the conduct the post test. And the second one, the control group, given no treatment and conduct the post test. This is called the non-equivalent and pre-test. Okay, pre-test, conduct the pre-test and Pretest of the both group. Pretest, conduct the pretest, treatment and post group. Pretest, no treatment and post test. This is the non-equivalent, and this control group means it is not, suppose if the researcher took the 20 sample size, 20 participant in the experiment group, and the control group is, it may be 10, it may be 5, 5 or 10. He took the participant as a control group, and then see the difference between the result between the treatment group and the control group. Now the second type is the pre-test and post-test. In this study design, the researcher only took the one experiment group, and he conduct the pre-test and give the treatment, and then conduct the post-test. In this study design, the researcher, and the quasi-experimental study design, the researcher took the experiment group, suppose maybe 20 or 30 sample size, and he conduct the pre-test and then gave the treatment, maybe educational treatment, maybe intervention, maybe any other one, and then he conduct the post-test and compare the result between the pre-test and post-test result, and see the what's the effectiveness of the treatment, what is the treatment affects after the compare the result, what's the influence of the treatment, compare the result between the pre-test and post-test. Now, the third type is called the interrupted time series. It is conducted in the two way. But one is with the so suppose he took the 10 sample size, and he took the pre-test one time, two time, and three time. Pre-test and pre-test, and then he gives the treatment, or you can say intervention. Then again he take the fourth, fifth, and sixth post test, and post test. Means this pre-test, between the pre-test and post-test, he uh, give the phase. He took the pre-test and post-test after the some specified time period. Means he took the first pre-test, and then gave the phase after the 1 month. He took the another pre-test, second pre-test, and then after the third, after the another give the 1 month phase. Then he took the third pre-test after the 1 month. Then he gave the treatment or intervention. Then he conduct the post-test of on the 4th month. Then he conduct the fifth post-test after the 5th month, on the 5th month, and then he took the sixth post-test after the 1 month on the 6th month. Okay, so this is the pre-test and post-test, just only without control group. And with the control group, if suppose it is the experiment with control group, then again in the control group he give the three, one or two, one or two. Maybe he took the one pre-test, and then he gave the old treatment, and then the one or two pre-test, post-test, fifth or sixth post-test. So this is the another method which is used in the time series, interrupted time series quasi-experimental study design. Let's go on the fourth type of the quasi-experimental study design, which is nowadays very famous. It is called the regression discontinuity quasi-experimental study design. In the quasi-experimental study design, if suppose the any researcher or any teacher, education researcher, He conduct the test or score. Then he took the he keep the cutoff point 50 score. If we say those who will get the more score from the 50 and who get the score less than 50, if those who will get the more score of the 50, he will uh, take the treatment, and those who less than is a no treatment. Means he took the test or the score, whatever, for whatever the subject, he met the cutoff values. He met the cutoff values of the 50 score. If those who will take the more than 50 score, he will eligible for the intervention for this experimental study design, and those who will not take the 50 score, he will not be eligible to for the treatment. So this is the quasi experimental study design, which is the on the basis you recruit the participant for the experimental study design for the experiment on the basis of the cutoff value or cutoff scores. Now, the second one is the propensity quasi-experimental study design. Is the propensity score is also says. Is again, and this study design is a little bit similar like a regression discontinuity study design. If suppose as some person is conduct the pain uh, pain sensation study the pain sensation, and then he would like to be give the counseling session intervention on the experiment group. So he did the gender and the age. He conduct the study and he sees that the age and gender are the covariate with each other, covariate with each other. After these correlation are the matching of the gender and the age, which is are the covariate. So the covariate which is come up from the 0 to 1. Between the gender and the age, the covariation of the pain sensation is come up around zero point 0.8. Means the gender and the age are the correlated, or they are the match with each other, because the covariate score has come up, correlation score has come up with near to 1 is a zero point 0.8. Is the means the gender and the age, they are the very correlation, are they are uh, they have the strong relationship with each other in the pain sensation. Then which is come up with the correlation, then he gave the counseling session, means counseling session intervention to this group, and those who have the less than zero point 0.5, no intervention given, it is took as a control group. Those who have the weak covariate, they will be fall down in the control group, and those who have the strong correlation, uh, they took the as a matching group, and the researcher gave the pain sedation counseling session to that particular type of the match or the correlated group. So this is the another method which is called the propensity quasi experimental study design, on which the basis the intervention eligibility criteria will be conducted on the basis of the covariate correlation score. If it is come near to 1, that means that these two variables are the correlated with each other, so they are the eligible to fall down for the interventions. So I hope in the today lecture, it's a clear your concept about the quasi-experimental study design. So quasi-experimental study design is a little bit different from the randomized controlled trial, because in the quasi-experimental study design it's a little bit easy as compared with the RCT, because in the quasi-experimental study design you have the no need of the randomization, and the second one is the control group. You can take the minimum number of the control group. It would not be equal like in the RCT. And the second one, it is you can the researcher will cannot take the control group, just he take the experimental group and see the result of the by the compare the result from the pre-test and post-test on just only on the experimental study design after given the treatment. So this is the quasi-experimental study design. It's little bit easier, and it is a need of the lack of the resources, need of the uh, three M's, means like a money, material, and means. So it then we discuss it has the four to five to six types. The one is the non-equivalent control group study design, in which the control group is not equal to like a experiment group. Okay, means if the researcher took the after the calculation, after the calculating the sample size by using the formula, then he take the 20 participant in the experiment group, and the control group he took the 5 or 10, uh, just to see the compare the result between the pre-test and between the intervention group and the control group. And the second type is the pre-test and post-test only quasi-experimental study design, in which the researcher took the only the experiment group and he conduct the pre-test and then give the treatment, and after the treatment he took the post-test and compare the pre-test and post-test result. Interrupted time series, as I told you, it is again this researcher conduct the one or two three pre-test after the specified time period, and then he give the then he give the treatment, and after the treatment he again took the 3 to 4 post-test after the specified time period, and then compare the pre-test and post-test result uh, to see the influence of the treatment. And the second type is again in which the in time series the control group took the will take by the researcher, in which the pre-test he may be on the control group take the one pre-test and one post-test, or one or two post-test from the after the old treatment. So it is a comparison of the interrupted time series. Now the four types is the regression discontinuity quasi-experimental study design, in which the researcher put the cutoff values or cutoff the scores, and the cutoff score, if he says he met the hypothesis, if those who participant who will take the score more than 50, he will be eligible for the intervention. Who will be less than 50, he will not be eligible in the treatment group, maybe in the control group. So this is the maybe he can take the cutoff values on the lab investigation result. If those who are the blood sugar level more than 200, he will be eligible for this intervention of the exercise, and those who are the less, he will not be eligible to in the treatment group. So the fifth one is the propensity quasi-experimental study design. Is again is the just like the same like a regression analysis, but in this propensity is it's a study design in which the researcher conduct the first of all he conduct the covariate, see the covariate between the variables with the independent variables, and see the correlation with the dependent variable. Just like the example, take the pain sensation counseling session. If the researcher conduct a study, suppose he between the two variable, the gender and the age, the correlation will come up near to 1 is the zero point 0.8, means the gender and the age they are the strong correlationship, so they become eligible for the pain cessation counseling session for the intervention. Or those who are the less than 0.5, they will not be eligible for the uh, counseling session intervention. So this is the all the types of the quasi-experimental study design. I hope it is clear your concept. For such type of the informative lecture, you should remain in touch with the HPH YouTube channel. And the last, I request you subscribe and press the bell icon. By pressing the bell icon, you will get the new lecture as soon as I upload on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz. Take care of yourself.